Have you ever been going about your day, completely absorbed in the mundane rhythm of your life, when suddenly, for a fraction of a second, the world felt wrong? Have you ever had that feeling, that undeniable glitch in the matrix, that breathtaking moment where the seamless fabric of reality seems to thin just for an instant, and you catch a horrifying, exhilarating glimpse of the vast, complex scaffolding behind the stage? It's a flicker of profound unreality piercing through the veil of the ordinary. Maybe it was a fleeting thought about a forgotten song that then began playing on the radio the very second you tuned in. Perhaps it was a complex, vivid conversation you had in a dream that then played out, word for word, with a person the very next day. Or maybe it's not a momentary glitch at all for you. Maybe it's a persistent, nagging, sometimes terrifying feeling that you are living inside of a dream, a grand cosmic play, and that you are teetering on the very edge of waking up. If any of this resonates deep within your bones, deeper than a passing curiosity, then your presence here, watching this, at this exact moment in space-time, is not a coincidence. Let me be unequivocally clear. This is not an accident of a clever algorithm, nor is it a random click in a sea of digital noise. This is a cosmic appointment. It is a meticulously orchestrated rendezvous that you, on a level of consciousness far beyond your daily awareness, have arranged for yourself. Your consciousness has been painstakingly guided to this very transmission because it has finally reached a specific resonant frequency, a vibrational state that has unlocked the ability to receive, to truly comprehend, and to finally wield what the ancient Gnostic mystery schools called the key to the kingdom, what Nikola Tesla alluded to as the secrets of the universe, and what quantum physics would describe in its own sterile language as the access code to non-local reality. This is not a metaphor. I need you to understand that. This is not another self-help platitude designed to give you a momentary boost of inspiration. This is a mechanism. It is the fundamental mechanics of the universe being laid bare. You're about to be handed a password that doesn't just open a door to a reality you've always wanted, but reveals the staggering truth that there was never a door, never a lock, and you were never, ever locked out in the first place. You were, and are, and always will be, the entire house. Stay with me, because the reality you thought you knew, the one built on struggle, effort, and limitation, is about to be completely and irrevocably upgraded. Before a computer can run a powerful, revolutionary new piece of software, its most fundamental hardware, its processors, its memory, its core operating system must be upgraded to handle the new demand. Your own biological and energetic system, your mind, your body, your entire energetic field has been undergoing just such a profound and often bewildering upgrade. The signs of this readiness have likely been profoundly strange, perhaps even unsettling, or frightening at times. Let's stop spiritualizing them for a moment and call them what they feel like: symptoms, the unmistakable symptoms of your awakening. First, you have been experiencing what can only be described as information downloads. Have you ever found yourself in the middle of a conversation, or perhaps just quietly washing the dishes, and you simply know something complex with absolute certainty? Suddenly, you understand a nuanced scientific theory you never studied, or you have a deep, soul-level insight into an ancient historical event. or the intricate workings of the human psyche. This isn't just a random spark of intuition. This is your consciousness directly accessing the universal database, what some call the Akashic records, or what Carl Jung termed the collective unconscious, the invisible, intelligent field of information that connects all things, all time, and all knowledge. It's as if your internal Wi-Fi, which has been running on a slow, password-protected network your whole life, has suddenly connected to a much faster, more expansive, open network of cosmic intelligence. You've also likely felt what I call timeline shifts, and these are often the most disorienting of all the symptoms. It's that bizarre, almost maddening feeling where you remember a past event one way with absolute photographic clarity, only to discover that all external evidence, photographs, historical records, and even the memories of others, points to a completely different version of events. This is the phenomenon many now call the Mandela effect, but it happens on a personal, micro level as well. It is the unsettling moment you realize a mundane object in your home is now a different color than you remember, or a conversation you distinctly recall having never actually took place. Or perhaps it's that even stranger moment when you make a choice, a significant life decision, and for a split second, you feel the ghost, the emotional echo of the reality where you chose differently. This isn't a sign of a failing memory or a descent into madness. It's a sign that your consciousness is beginning to transcend the illusion of linear time. You are becoming aware of the branching, probabilistic nature of reality. You are no longer experiencing life on a single, fixed railway track. You are becoming conscious of the infinite parallel pathways you navigate with every single choice, every single thought. And then there are the synchronicities. We've all experienced little coincidences, but this is something else entirely. This is synchronicity on steroids. It's the universe turning up the volume until you simply cannot ignore it. You think of a long-lost friend you haven't spoken to in a decade, and they call or text you 2 minutes later. You have a pressing, urgent question weighing on your soul, and the answer appears emblazoned on a billboard you drive past, or in the lyrics of a song that comes on the radio. You start seeing the same number sequences everywhere: 1111, 444, 333, 222, so frequently that it defies all known laws of statistical probability. This is not the universe playing cute little games with you. This is the universe communicating with you in the only language it can, the language of symbols and patterns. It is showing you, in the most direct and undeniable way possible, that there is an intelligent, organizing principle dancing behind the thin veil of chaos. It's leaving you cosmic breadcrumbs, confirming that you are on the right path, that your consciousness is beginning to harmonize and synchronize with the very flow of the cosmos itself. Beyond the mental and experiential, the upgrade has been profoundly physical. Many of you have felt it, and perhaps even worried about it. That strange, gentle, but persistent pressure between your eyebrows, in the area of what ancient traditions called the third eye, unexplained tingling sensations, goosebumps without any cold, or palpable waves of energy moving through your body, especially during moments of quiet contemplation, meditation, or just before you fall asleep. These are not medical anomalies to be feared. These are the clear, physical sensations of your bioenergetic circuitry being rewired, rebooted, and activated for a higher capacity. Your pineal gland, the dormant, crystalline radio receiver in the center of your brain, is decalcifying. Your chakra system, the energetic superhighways of your body, is being recalibrated to a higher, more refined frequency. Your very body is literally preparing itself, upgrading its hardware to safely and coherently handle a greater influx of conscious energy and information. These are not individual, isolated quirks of your personality or psychology. They are the interconnected, unmistakable signs of your preparation. You are being prepared to receive the new software, the new operating system for reality, an operating system where you are no longer the pawn, but the player, where you are no longer the victim of circumstance, but the conscious creator of your experience. Now, I know exactly what some of you are thinking, because I have thought it myself. An upgrade? A spiritual awakening? My life has felt more like a complete and catastrophic system failure. The past few months, or perhaps even the last few years, have been intensely, relentlessly challenging. It may have felt like a cruel and meaningless demolition. The relationship that was the very bedrock of your life, the one you thought was forever, crumbled into dust. The career you painstakingly built for decades, the source of your identity and security, vanished overnight. The plans you so meticulously laid for your future were shattered into a million unrecognizable pieces. You have likely experienced moments of such profound loss, confusion, and despair that you questioned the very point of your existence. I am here to tell you, with an absolute certainty born from the fires of my own experience, that what you endured was not chaos. It was calibration. It was not a punishment, but a profound and necessary purification. Every single thing that was cleared from your life, every person who walked away, every opportunity that closed its door, every structure that collapsed around you, was removed for one reason, and one reason only. Its vibrational frequency no longer matched the frequency of the person you are in the process of becoming. Imagine trying to tune a highly sensitive radio to a crystal clear, high frequency signal. You simply cannot do it if the airwaves are filled with a cacophony of static, noise, and interference from lower frequency stations. Your life, your soul, had to eliminate that static, those old attachments, those limiting beliefs, those codependent situations, and those draining relationships were all broadcasting a frequency of lack, of fear, of limitation, of not enoughness. They had to go. They were surgically, and often painfully, removed to create the clear, silent, sacred space required for you to receive this new, higher, more powerful transmission. From a quantum perspective, your life has been what the Nobel laureate chemist Ilya Prigogine called a dissipative structure. These are complex, open systems, like a hurricane, a living cell, or a human life, that appear to be falling into chaos and disorder, but are actually in the process of spontaneously reorganizing themselves at a higher, more complex, and more coherent level of order. The most perfect analogy for this is the caterpillar. Inside its chrysalis, it doesn't just neatly sprout wings, it dissolves. It completely disintegrates into a literal soup of primordial cells, a chaotic mess called imaginal cells. From the outside, it is a period of stillness. From the inside, it is utter destruction. It is chaos, but it is not death. It is the necessary deconstruction that must occur before it can reorganize itself into its magnificent new form. As a butterfly, you have been in the chrysalis. The demolition was the dissolution. The despair was the soup. The immense pressure you felt, the feeling of being crushed by circumstances beyond your control, that was not a weight meant to destroy you. That was propulsion. It was the precise cosmic pressure required to turn a lump of carbon, your old, limited, fearful, egoic self, into a radiant, multifaceted, indestructible diamond, the brilliant, high-frequency consciousness that you truly are. Your old reality was being systematically and lovingly dismantled to make way for a new one built not on the Newtonian principles of effort, force, and control, but on the quantum principles of flow, resonance, and conscious creation. The pain was the friction of your old, hard self being polished away. The emptiness was the clearing of the vessel. All of it, every tear, every moment of fear, was a necessary, albeit exquisitely painful, preparation for you to receive an access code that requires absolute coherence. It was all for this exact moment. I need to be completely transparent with you now. I am not speaking to you from a high and mighty pedestal of abstract theory or spiritual platitudes. I am speaking to you from the trenches, from a place of brutal, humbling, lived experience. A few years ago, my life was a smoking ruin. I had reached the absolute end of the line, a place so dark I didn't think light existed anymore. Financially, I was destroyed, facing a mountain of debt that felt like a physical weight on my chest, with absolutely no conceivable way to pay it. The business I had poured my heart, my soul, and every waking hour into for years had imploded in the most spectacular and public fashion. My long-term relationship had ended in a way that left me feeling utterly alone, betrayed, and abandoned. I was sleeping in a friend's spare room, surrounded by boxes of my shattered former life, and my hope, my very life force, had flatlined. I had tried everything. Believe me, I had tried it all. I had pushed. I had struggled. I had hustled. I had schemed. I had affirmed until my throat was raw. I had visualized until my brain ached, creating vision boards and scripting my perfect future with desperate intensity. I had done everything the world and the self-help industry tells you to do to be successful, and all of it, every last bit of it, had turned to ash in my hands. I was in a state of complete, utter, soul-crushing defeat, and in that moment of absolute desperation, lying there in the dark, with nothing left to lose, something truly extraordinary happened. I gave up, not in a nihilistic, self-pitying way, but in a profound act of total and complete surrender. I stopped fighting. I stopped trying to control reality, to bend it to my will. I let go of every desire, every plan, every last vestige of hope that I could fix my life. I simply lay there, in the silence and the darkness of that spare room, and I said to the universe, to God, to whatever intelligence was listening, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. My way doesn't work. You take it. I surrender. In the profound, deep silence that followed that final, ego-shattering surrender, something inside of me shifted. It wasn't a thought. It wasn't an external voice. It was a frequency, a vibration I felt not with my ears, but with the very essence of my being. It was a silent, deep hum of pure, peaceful, powerful potential. It was the sound of silence itself, and with that frequency, came a download of knowing, a direct, unmediated understanding of how to interface with the quantum field, with the mind of God. It wasn't a set of complicated instructions. It was a state of being. I held that frequency. I didn't try to analyze it, or replicate it, or even understand it. I simply was it. I became the silence. I became the peace. I became the vibration. And what happened next is what proved to me, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that this was not a psychological breakdown, but a profound spiritual breakthrough. Within 36 hours of that moment of surrender, an outcome that was, by all rational and statistical measures, completely and utterly impossible, manifested in my physical reality. An old business contact, a man whom I hadn't spoken to in over 5 years and who was not even on my radar, called me out of the blue. He said my name had just popped into his head that morning. He was starting a new venture that required my exact niche skill set, a skill set I hadn't even used in years. Right there on the phone, he offered me a consulting contract. The advance payment for that contract was not only enough to clear my most pressing, soul-crushing debts, but also to secure a new place to live. It was a series of events so wildly improbable, so perfectly and elegantly orchestrated that it could not be explained by luck, chance, or coincidence. It was a direct, intelligent, and loving response from the universe. It was irrefutable proof that the mechanism was real, and at the very heart of that mechanism was the password I had accidentally stumbled upon in my moment of total unconditional surrender. So, what is this quantum password? What is this master key that unlocks the operating system of reality and shifts you from the character in the game to the player at the console? The password is not a complex mantra in a dead language. It is not an ancient, secret phrase that you have to be initiated into a mystery school to learn. It is the simplest and yet most profound truth of your entire existence, hidden in plain sight, uttered by us all every single day without a shred of understanding of its true power. The quantum password is, I am. Now, please, before your logical mind dismisses this as something you've heard 1,000 times before in some New Age book, I implore you to understand this next point. This is the critical juncture. This is not a phrase to be repeated like a parrot. It is not an affirmation to be mindlessly chanted in the mirror. It is a state of consciousness to be embodied. It is a place to stand. Let me break this down for you so you can truly grasp the mechanics of it. We spend our entire lives, from the moment we can speak, in a state of, I am this, or I am that. I am a man. I am a woman. I am an American. I am a doctor. I am a parent. I am rich. I am poor. I am happy. I am anxious. I am a failure. I am a success. All of these are temporary labels. They are the costumes that our consciousness wears for a time. They are the forms, the characters playing their parts on the grand stage of reality. The password, the state of pure I am, is the recognition of the consciousness that exists before all of those labels. It is the pure, formless, silent awareness that is the source of everything. It is the screen on which the movie of your life is playing. It is the empty space in the room that allows all the furniture to exist. It is the silence that underlies and allows all sound. When you operate from this primordial state, you are no longer a person in reality trying desperately to change it, pushing against circumstances, and fighting against the current. You are reality itself, the very consciousness that is choosing which forms to express and which possibilities to collapse from the infinite, shimmering quantum field of potential. This aligns perfectly with the revolutionary, mind-bending findings of the legendary physicist John Wheeler, a colleague of Einstein and a giant in the field of quantum mechanics. Wheeler proposed the radical concept of the participatory universe. He suggested that the universe does not exist as a concrete, objective reality independent of us. Instead, he argued that reality is brought into being, is literally manifested through the act of conscious observation. The quantum field, the stuff of the universe, exists as a sea of pure potential, infinite waves of possibility for any and every outcome. It is the act of a conscious observer, you, that collapses those infinite waves into a specific single particle, a specific event, a specific experience, a specific reality. When you are identified with the label, I am anxious, you are a conscious observer collapsing the quantum field into the tangible experience of anxiety. The universe, which is an impartial mirror, has no choice but to bring you more circumstances, people, and events that match that observation. When you are identified with the story, I am a failure, you are a conscious observer programming reality to deliver you more evidence of failure, creating a self-fulfilling feedback loop. But when you retreat back behind all the labels and stories into the pure, formless state of I am, you withdraw your energy and your power of observation from those limiting definitions. You return to the state of pure potential, the ground of all being. You become the conscious observer who is not attached to any specific outcome, and from that state of ultimate power and neutrality, you can then choose consciously which possibility you now wish to collapse into your experience. You are no longer begging the universe for a different reality. You are the very consciousness that gives birth to it. Listen to me very carefully now. Your reception of this knowledge, your deep resonance with this truth, has opened a powerful and time-sensitive opportunity. You are now in what I call a critical activation window. This is a neurological and energetic period of roughly 72 hours to 7 days, where this profound recognition can be stabilized as your new permanent reality. Or it can be allowed to fade back into just another interesting concept, another spiritual idea that you file away and forget as the old programming reasserts itself. The stabilization does not come from intense effort, gritting your teeth, or struggle. In fact, effort is profoundly counterproductive. Trying to become I am is a paradox. It's like an ocean wave trying to become water. You are already it. The only task is to recognize it, to remember it, to discover what was never lost. So how do you do it? How do you stabilize this state? It is through a process of simple, consistent, gentle recognition. For the next 72 hours, this is your only spiritual practice. Forget everything else. Every time you notice yourself lost in thought, ruminating about the past, or worrying about the future, every time you feel the grip of a powerful emotion, like fear, anger, or sadness, every time you find yourself identified with a circumstance in your life, your job, your bank account, your relationship status, you are to do one simple thing. You pause, you take one conscious breath, and you gently, lovingly shift your attention from the content of your experience, the thought, the emotion, the story, to the silent, aware context in which it is all happening. You recognize the silent, witnessing presence that is aware of the thought, that is aware of the emotion, that is aware of the body, that silent, aware presence, that is I am. You don't have to force it. You don't have to create it. You just have to notice it. It's always here. It is the one constant in your entire life. It is the sky that has held every cloud of thought and feeling you have ever had. To begin this activation, to anchor this state in your being right now, you are urged to perform a simple but powerful action. Go to the comments section right now and make a declaration. Write the words, I am aware. This is not for me. This is not for vanity metrics. This is for you. This act functions as a powerful anchor. It is a present tense statement of your true nature. It is a command that signals to your subconscious mind and to the universe itself that you are consciously accepting this upgrade. You are declaring your true identity. Do it now. I am aware. So, what happens when this shift is stabilized? What does life actually look like, feel like, when I am consciousness becomes your default operating state? The life that unfolds is so far beyond the old reality of struggle, lack, and limitation that it can seem like an impossible fantasy from that old perspective. But from this new state, it is simply natural. It is your birthright. Instant manifestation becomes your new normal. I don't mean a magical, cartoonish poofing of things into existence from thin air. I mean that your desires, especially when they are aligned with your true, highest nature, manifest with an astonishing speed and synchronistic elegance. The mechanism is simple. You are no longer trying to get something from a desperate place of lack. You are embodying the frequency of its fulfillment from a place of wholeness, from the state of I am, which is already whole and complete. The material world, which is simply a mirror of consciousness, has no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect that wholeness back to you in the form of your desire. You develop a profound immunity to external chaos. The world can be in turmoil. The news can scream of crisis. People around you can be in a state of panic or drama. But you remain rooted in the deep, unshakable peace of the observer. The drama of the world becomes like a movie playing on the screen of your awareness. But you know, with unshakable certainty, that you are the screen, not the movie. This doesn't mean you become a cold or uncaring robot. On the contrary, you can engage with the world from a place of absolute stability and clarity, making you far more effective, compassionate, and capable of being a true agent for positive change. Limitless creativity begins to flow through you, not from you. When you create from the ego, from the I am this identity, you are drawing from a very small, finite well of your own past experiences, knowledge, and conditioning. It's a closed system. When you create from the vast, open space of I am, you become a conduit, an open channel for true inspiration, ideas, art, solutions to complex problems, and brilliant innovations flow through you from the infinite field of potential, unhindered by the ego's constant fear of failure or self-doubt. Your relationships transform at a fundamental level. When you seek a relationship from a place of being an incomplete person trying to find your other half to make you whole, you will always attract relationships based on need, control, and codependency. When you know yourself as the wholeness of I am, you attract relationships that are a reflection of that wholeness. They become joyous collaborations between two sovereign, complete beings based on freedom, expansion, and unconditional love, rather than neediness and possession. Your physical health optimizes. The body is a direct, instantaneous reflection of consciousness, a consciousness that is constantly identified with stress, fear, resentment, and limitation creates a body that dutifully reflects those states through inflammation, illness, and disease. A consciousness that is rooted in the peace and wholeness of I am sends a constant signal of coherence and harmony to every one of the 50 trillion cells in your body, allowing its natural, innate, and profoundly intelligent healing mechanisms to function perfectly as they were designed to. And finally, most importantly, fear dissolves at its root. All fear at its absolute core is the fear of annihilation, the fear of death. That fear exists for one reason and one reason only. You have mistaken your identity. You have identified with the temporary form, the body, the personality, the story of you, which is, by its very nature, vulnerable and mortal. When you know, not as an intellectual belief, but as a direct, lived experience, that you are the indestructible, eternal consciousness, observing the temporary form, what is there possibly to fear? You realize you cannot be threatened. You cannot be destroyed. You are the awareness that was here before the body was born and will be here long after it is gone. Fear loses its grip at the source, and what is left is a profound and lasting peace. I want you to understand, with every fiber of your being, that your reception of this quantum password is not merely a personal event for your own benefit or to simply improve your own life. It is a crucial, indispensable part of a planet-wide evolutionary shift that is happening right now in our lifetime. The visionary biologist and philosopher Rupert Sheldrake proposed the theory of morphic resonance. In essence, it states that there is a collective memory, a field of information for every species. When a member of a species learns a new behavior or achieves a new state of consciousness, it becomes slightly easier for every other member of that species to do the same, even without any direct physical contact. The most famous example, though anecdotal, is the 100th monkey effect, where once a critical number of monkeys on one island learned to wash their sweet potatoes in the sea, monkeys on other distant islands with no contact spontaneously began doing the same. You are part of a critical mass of consciousness. Every single individual, like you, who awakens to this I am recognition, who stabilizes this frequency of pure awareness, contributes to this morphic field of humanity. You are literally making it easier for every other human on this planet to awaken. Your personal liberation is a profound service to the collective. You are a lighthouse, and by simply shining your light, by simply embodying this truth, you give others permission and the energetic support to find their own light within the storm. We are rapidly approaching a threshold, a collective tipping point, a collective quantum leap, for humanity is not just a new age fantasy. It is a real, tangible possibility that is growing more probable every single day. The ancient prophecies from cultures all over the world, the Mayans, the Hopi, the Vedic traditions, speaking of a new era of awareness, a golden age of consciousness, were not just myths. They were echoes of this future possibility, whispers across time. You, by receiving and embodying this key, are an active participant in the fulfillment of that prophecy. You are a co-creator of the new earth. We have journeyed far in this short time. You have recognized the signs of your upgrade. You have understood the sacred purpose of your crucible, and you have been given the password to reality itself. The activation window is now open. A final commitment is now required from you, a final conscious act to lock in this transformation and declare your intention to the cosmos. You must now go to the comments and write a single word. That word is password. This is not a gimmick. This is a declaration of power. It is a signal you are sending to every level of your being, your conscious mind, your subconscious programming, your cellular memory, and your entire energetic field. More than that, it is a signal to the quantum field itself that you have received the key and you are committing right here and now to embodying it as your new lived reality. This act begins the full and permanent integration process. The journey from here is one of remembering. It is not about struggle, but about surrender. It is not about learning something new, but about unlearning all the false limitations you have taken on as your identity. Your only task is to return again and again, as gently and as often as you can, to the silent, peaceful, all-powerful truth of your being. I am. Let me leave you with a couple of questions to carry with you into this new reality. What is one temporary identity, one old, tired story you've been clinging to? The story of being unlucky, or not good enough, or always struggling, that you can, just for this moment, right now, let go of. And can you recall a time in your life when what seemed like a major disaster, a complete catastrophe, actually turned out to be a profound blessing, in disguise the very thing that pushed you onto a better, more authentic path? Share your experience below. Your story might be the very key that unlocks someone else's understanding. Let's illuminate this powerful pattern for each other. Thank you for receiving this transmission. My deepest and most heartfelt wish for you is a life of profound peace, boundless creativity, and the joyous, unshakable freedom that comes from knowing who you truly are. I wish you and your loved ones perfect health, radiant well-being, and absolute clarity on the magnificent journey ahead. If this message has activated something deep within you, if you feel the resonance of this truth in your soul, and you are ready to continue this exploration into conscious creation, please subscribe to this channel. We are building a global community of awakened souls, a network of lighthouses, and your presence here strengthens the entire collective.